with WWE not planning another Lesnar vs. Reigns match and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John. You're watching the Wrestling Report for July 11th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Talking on his Hall of Fame podcast about the results from Money in the Bank, Booker T had this to say about WWE pushing the SmackDown Women's Champion. I've been saying it for a while as far as making guys. You've got to be able to pull the trigger on a lot of these young guys that's coming up. Right now, Liv Morgan, she's still got years left in the business. You can't wait till it's all over with for Liv Morgan to say, hey, let's do something with her. You've got to do it now. With him previously saying he wanted to be the next Jeff Hardy in professional wrestling when he was young, TNT champion Wardlow had this to say about possibly teaming with him on the TWC show. Everybody assumes Jeff Hardy is a dream opponent of mine, and yes, that would be cool. I would love to wrestle Jeff Hardy, but more so than wrestle, I want to team with Jeff Hardy. If I could do a 6-man and just be Team Extreme for one night, myself, Matt, and Jeff, I think that would be the ultimate dream, more so than actually wrestling him. During an interview with Sportskeeda, Paul Wight revealed how Cody Rhodes and Chris Jericho inspired him to join AEW. After establishing that renownedness, I saw an opportunity to build something with AEW. Like a lot of times in your career, you achieve your own success and then you start to look for other ways to keep your passion going and stay motivated. And I saw a lot of great things in my friends Chris Jericho and Cody Rhodes at the time, Young Bucks, what they were doing with AEW, and I really wanted to be a part of that. I thought I could slide in and really work on a personal goal of mine. It has been probably 15 to 17 years I have wanted to do commentary. Asked about his reaction to Vince McMahon paying women hush money and being under investigation, Chris Jericho seemed adamant that nothing will happen to McMahon on the True Geordie podcast, saying, not really. Is it a surprise in any industry when it happens? When you look at it, it's really not illegal. He had an affair, paid the lady off to not say anything, and moved on. It's almost like, okay, and? People want to jump on it, but there is still always an undertone of, it's wrestling. Oh, it's just wrestling. If you look, that story came out with a bang, and then you really haven't heard anything about it since. If this was Hollywood with Harvey Weinstein, that sort of thing, the difference between that is he was holding women back for getting gigs. Harvey Weinstein, either bang me or you don't get the starring role. This has never been said in Vince's thing. It was a mutual acknowledgement of the affair. He paid the lady to say nothing and she took the money. I really know Vince well and it sucks that happened. It sucks that he did it, but is anything really going to happen from it? I don't think so. Jericho would add, Vince is just the lad at heart. He's just a dude. And yes, he's very intimidating and he's a billionaire. And he's, the creator of this massive iconic company, but deep down, he's just a dude that likes to hang out, likes to joke, and likes to drink. He's surrounded by yes men, as most guys in that position are. He doesn't want yes men, and had a really good relationship with him. With Eddie Kingston previously defending Adam Cole from body-shaming comments, now X-Pac has done the same for Kingston, as a fan took to Twitter to make fun of his gut. Waltman replied, yeah, there's no way someone with a beer gut could possibly be a good athlete. Most of these criticisms come from people who don't have the first clue what makes someone a good athlete. FYI, it has zero to do with whether or not you can see their six-pack. Recalling his time at WWE on the Good Karma Wrestling podcast, Johnny Gargano admitted there are goals that eluded him. I never got a chance to wrestle at WrestleMania. That was always something on my bucket list, and it still is on my bucket list. It's a usual answer for a lot of guys my size and from my era, but the Intercontinental title, especially like the white strap Intercontinental title that I used to have. That is always something that has been in the back of my mind as well, that I would love to have one day. Previously, The Rock decided to buy a home and a car for his cousin Tamina, as she recently gave her reaction to this while speaking to Ryan Satin. "I was standing outside on the driveway and he wouldn't let me come in. He said wait. I said okay. It was my aunt who drove me up to the house. I came out to the driveway, he walked out, and that's how this happened. He said okay, come on in, and he covered my eyes. That's where you see it, exactly like that. Dwayne's always been that way, and ever since we were young, this is all I've ever known him to be. He's always been that loving, giving person, and not a lot of people get to see that side of him. This man has gone above and beyond for me more than I can even imagine, and for anybody to ever imagine what he's done for me. So to me, that's my brother, you know, that's my bro. Like, I love that man." Speaking of The Rock, his daughter Ava Raine has been training to become a pro wrestler as she recently cut a promo during an NXT live event. A fan criticized this, writing, "I don't have a good feeling about this at all. For some reason, I have this gut feeling that wrestling isn't going to catch on with her. She's been in the PC a long time, which is the first red flag. She's deaf raw." Ava replied, "Try a probiotic. That usually helps with gut health." At a WWE live event in Sacramento, Liv Morgan was taking on Natalya and hit her with her finishing move for the 3 count. Following the pinfall, Natty can be seen immediately getting up to point and say something to Liv before rolling out of the ring. Obviously, there were questions surrounding this, as Natty attempted to clear the air in a now deleted tweet as she wrote, "I'm breaking character right now, but I actually said thank you, if you must know." With many of AEW's top stars out injured currently, Dave Meltzer noted on Saturday night's main event podcast about Bryan Danielson, saying, "What I can tell you is Bryan is fine, but he's not cleared to wrestle yet, and Tony Khan is not going to rush him back." During the speaking out movement, pro wrestling star Marty Scurll had been called out for having a sexual encounter with a 16-year-old, as he's been essentially blackballed from promotion since. Now, he's been booked for Santino Marella's promotion, with Scurll announcing his return. This caused many fans to react, as they seem to be upset. "Oh god, dude, really? Why?" No. You can keep it, babe. I was doing great not seeing him anywhere anymore, actually. So I will have to pass on seeing him in a way I've never seen him before, so thank you for offering, but I will not be saving that date, and hope in the future you don't book people who take advantage of drunken teenagers. Kids get in free with a paid parent or adult boyfriend. Probably not the best choice. With them set to go head-to-head once again at SummerSlam, it was said by The Observer that this could be the last we see of Roman Reigns taking on Brock Lesnar. There are no plans for any other match between them as of right now, but let's be serious. Guys get hurt, and it's a match that, bringing Brock back still got a lot of talk and everything like that. The first week, there was a lot of talk on bringing Brock back. We'll see how much that means this week to a degree, but it's still SummerSlam. It's going to be the 3rd biggest show of the year. It always is. Speaking about the reaction of the WWE locker room to the allegations against Vince McMahon, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, "I heard from a couple of talent backstage. A total variety of views. It wasn't like there's one view or anything. It was actually 3 totally different views. One person was saying, what you get into when you get into the business." Another person said, "Vince didn't sell it, and nobody's really talking about it because you don't want to talk about it, because if someone hears you talk about it, you get in trouble and no one needs that." One person was very concerned in the sense of they felt that it's one thing to pay money if you're trying to hide an affair or something like that, but once it becomes coercion, and once it ties into the business and the work and demotion and things like that, it becomes a really concerning issue. I'm sure there's 20 other viewpoints as well. I didn't get a sense at all of a prevailing viewpoint. During his appearance on the True Geordie podcast, Chris Jericho touched on his backstage interaction with Brock Lesnar from SummerSlam 2016, where Jericho had thought that Lesnar had intentionally hurt Randy Orton. Things happen in a match. The word I hate the most that fans use is botch. "Oh, you botched that one? Shut your mouth. There is no such thing as a botch. This is a live show. Mistakes happen. Why? Because we are human beings and we're live. If it happens in a hockey game, the fans don't start chanting in unison, "You effed up, you effed up." If you go to a Broadway play and someone fumbles their lines, people don't start chanting, "You effed up, you effed up." You go to a wrestling match and miss a hip toss, people start chanting. That's BS. It's disrespectful. And wrestling fans walk the line of being disrespectful. WWE Hall of Fame and people are booing the Bushwhackers for being in the Hall of Fame? F you. So that to me is like, yeah, I love wrestling fans. If there were no fans, there will be no career of Chris Jericho. But you guys gotta keep it in check sometimes and show some respect. Jericho also discussed when he nearly fought Brock Lesnar and said the star used homophobic language during their exchange. He was doing a match with Randy Orton and he was basically butchering him with elbows to the head. I didn't know if it was planned or not. No one would tell me. Wrestling is a hard-hitting sport, but elbows to the side of the head can kill you. When he was hitting him with the elbows, if this is real, then it is BS. But if it is called, it is still BS. Because he is taking liberties and it's pissing me off. I was in Gorilla and I was angry about it. He came back and saw me and saw I was angry about it and wanted to challenge me. We got into it a bit of an issue. I was like, forget this guy. I don't know how big he is, I'll take him on. I will fight to the death and stand up for what I believe in to the death. I was nose to nose with the guy and he is there laughing and saying things that would get him canceled. Homophobic things. I was like, I am going to bite his nose off. Get this big fat nose in front of me, and if he takes a swing at me, I'm not saying this as a tough guy. I'm literally going to bite his nose off and see how tough he is. He might kill me, but he will walk around for the rest of his life with no nose. I don't care about the homophobic thing. I wasn't falling for it. This has gone to the next level now. This has become kill or be killed. I'm going to bite your nose off. Triple H tried to break it up, and we both told him to F off, which was hilarious. Then Vince got involved and basically broke it up, and told me that he had told Brock to do that. No one else would say anything before that, but that was all down to Vince and Randy and Brock and whatever. But when it got down to the confrontation, it was real. Had it gone to the next step, I would have. He might have broke my face, but I will bite his nose off. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.